How to Talk with Anyone. Elara often felt a strange disconnect. She could effortlessly comprehend complex English conversations, understanding every nuance and subtle joke. Yet, when it was her turn to speak, a paralyzing shyness would clamp down on her tongue, trapping thoughts within her mind. This silent struggle was a constant source of frustration and isolation for her. Her mind was a vast library of English vocabulary and grammar rules. She devoured books, watched movies without subtitles, and listened to podcasts avidly. "I understand English, but I can't speak well," she'd lament to herself in the quiet moments of her day. It was a common plight, yet it felt uniquely her own burden. One afternoon, while browsing online forums, Elara stumbled upon an article titled, "How to Talk with Anyone." The title itself resonated deeply with her unspoken desire. It wasn't just about English, it was about breaking free from the communication barrier that held her captive, both in her native language and in English. The article emphasized that communication was a skill, not an innate talent. It offered various talking tips, suggesting starting small, perhaps with simple greetings or asking open-ended questions. These weren't revolutionary ideas, but seeing them neatly organized sparked a flicker of hope within Elara's anxious heart, promising a pathway forward. A specific section caught her eye: why reading is important. It explained that extensive reading not only boosts vocabulary but also ingrains sentence structures and natural phrasing. Elara already loved reading, but she realized she hadn't actively connected it to her speaking deficiency. This was a crucial insight for her development. The article further elaborated on how to talk in English, advising learners to focus on pronunciation and intonation, not just grammar. It suggested mimicking native speakers and practicing common phrases aloud. Elara had always been too self-conscious to speak loudly, even to herself, but the article encouraged brave, consistent effort. Another compelling point was learn English through stories. The idea that narratives could make language acquisition engaging and memorable truly appealed to Elara. She decided to delve into short stories and audiobooks, not just for comprehension, but actively trying to absorb the rhythm and flow of the language, making learning fun. This systematic approach began to shift Elara's perspective on how to learn English. It wasn't just about endless memorization or complex grammatical exercises. It was about immersion, practice, and finding joy in the process. She started to map out a daily routine, incorporating these new strategies into her life. The most daunting challenge remained: speaking. The article addressed this directly with how to talk to people in pairs. It recommended finding a language partner for low-stakes conversations. The thought made Elara's palms sweat, but she knew that without actual spoken practice, her progress would remain confined to her mind. Hesitantly, Elara decided to start with the safest option: how to talk at home to yourself. She began narrating her daily activities aloud. "I am making coffee now. The water is boiling," she'd whisper, then gradually increase her volume. This felt awkward initially, but slowly, the words started flowing more freely. She also started describing objects around her apartment: a chair, a book, a lamp. This simple, how to practice English technique built her confidence in forming sentences on the fly. It was a private space, free from judgment, allowing her to make mistakes without embarrassment, which was crucial for her fragile self-esteem. Elara discovered that linking ideas, even simple ones, helped immensely. Instead of just book, she'd say, "This is a blue book. It has many pages." Expanding her thoughts aloud, even to herself, created a smoother transition from understanding to active verbalization. This self-dialogue was transformative. Her reading habits deepened. She wasn't just reading for pleasure anymore, she was actively paying attention to dialogue, noting how characters conversed. She'd then try to rephrase sentences in her own words, or even imagine herself in the characters' shoes, practicing their lines, solidifying the importance of reading. Audiobooks became her constant companions. She'd listen, then pause, attempting to repeat phrases and intonations exactly as she heard them. This active listening and mimicking improved her pronunciation remarkably. She realized that hearing fluent English was as vital as reading it, especially for spoken fluency. One evening, Elara remembered the "how to talk to people in pairs" advice. She found an online language exchange platform. Her heart pounded as she sent a message to a potential partner, a friendly-looking student from Canada named Liam. This step felt like a monumental leap for her. Their first few conversations were excruciatingly slow. Elara still stammered, her words getting tangled. But Liam was patient and encouraging. He'd gently rephrase her sentences, providing correct models without making her feel foolish. This supportive environment was exactly what she needed for her initial, tentative steps. Liam suggested they try role-playing common scenarios, ordering food, asking for directions, or discussing daily routines. This practical, talking tips approach made the practice less abstract and more applicable to real life. Elara found herself gradually relaxing, her fear of making mistakes lessening with each session. The "learn English through stories" concept proved invaluable during their pair sessions. They would often discuss short stories or articles they had both read, providing a natural topic for conversation. This allowed Elara to articulate her thoughts and opinions in a structured, yet spontaneous way, improving her fluency significantly. Elara also started applying the "how to talk with anyone" principles in her daily life, albeit cautiously. Simple interactions, like thanking a barista or asking a store assistant for help, became mini-practice sessions. Each successful, albeit brief, exchange boosted her confidence immensely, showing real-world application. She learned to embrace silences, no longer feeling pressured to fill every pause. Liam taught her that it was perfectly fine to take a moment to formulate a thought. This reduced her anxiety, allowing her brain the necessary time to translate and organize her ideas before speaking, enhancing her overall flow. Her "how to talk at home to yourself" routine became more sophisticated. Instead of just narrating, she started having full-blown imaginary conversations. She'd pretend she was giving a presentation or interviewing for a job, practicing different registers and tones, preparing for various real-world scenarios effectively. This consistent self-practice was fundamental to her progress. It allowed her to experiment with new vocabulary and grammatical structures without the pressure of an audience. She discovered her voice, the unique rhythm and intonation she possessed, building a solid foundation for public interaction, empowering her greatly. The combination of reading, listening, self-talk, and pair practice formed a robust, how to practice English strategy. Elara recognized that there was no single magic bullet. Rather, it was the synergistic effect of all these methods working together that yielded tangible results, accelerating her language learning journey. Her understanding of why reading is important evolved. It wasn't just for input, it provided models for output. The sentences she read subtly influenced the sentences she formed. The exposure to diverse writing styles enriched her own expressive capabilities, making her spoken English more sophisticated and nuanced. She started keeping a vocabulary notebook, not just for new words, but for useful phrases and idioms. These ready-made chunks of language made her speaking smoother and more natural. She focused on using them actively in her self-talk and with Liam, integrating them into her active vocabulary system. The fear of, "I understand English but I can't speak well," slowly began to dissipate. The gap between her comprehension and her production was narrowing. Each successful conversation, no matter how small, chipped away at the mental block that had held her captive for so long, freeing her voice. Elara realized that confidence was paramount. It wasn't about perfection, but about willingness to try. Imperfect English spoken with conviction was far more effective than perfectly formulated thoughts trapped inside her head. This shift in mindset was as important as any linguistic technique she had learned. One day, an unexpected opportunity arose. A prestigious international conference was coming to her city, seeking local volunteers. The application process required an English interview. Her heart fluttered, but instead of panic, a quiet determination settled in. This was her moment to truly test herself. She meticulously prepared, using all her acquired how to learn English techniques. She researched common interview questions, practicing her answers aloud, recording herself, and critically evaluating her responses. Liam helped her with mock interviews, offering constructive feedback and boosting her morale significantly. The morning of the interview, Elara felt a mix of nerves and excitement. She reminded herself of all the talking tips she had absorbed: make eye contact, listen actively, speak clearly, and don't be afraid to ask for clarification. These small strategies provided a mental anchor during her anxious moments. During the interview, she initially felt a familiar tightness in her chest. But then, she thought of her silent narrations, her imagined conversations, and Liam's encouraging smile. She took a deep breath, and the words, though not flawless, began to flow more naturally than ever before, surprising even herself. She confidently answered questions about her experience and motivation. She even managed to interject a thoughtful question of her own, demonstrating genuine engagement. The interviewers nodded approvingly, their expressions conveying satisfaction. Elara could feel the power of her voice, finally unleashed and resonating. A week later, Elara received an email. She got the volunteer position. A wave of triumph washed over her. It wasn't just about the position, it was validation of her journey, a testament to her perseverance and the effectiveness of her adopted language learning strategies, celebrating her hard-earned success. The conference itself was an immersive experience. She found herself engaging in conversations with delegates from around the world, applying all her how to talk with anyone principles. The fear of speaking English had largely vanished, replaced by a genuine curiosity and enjoyment of communication. She often found herself explaining complex topics or giving directions, tasks that would have seemed impossible just months ago. Her reliance on the "how to talk in English" advice, particularly focusing on clear articulation and pace, made her an effective and understandable communicator, fostering positive interactions. She noticed how naturally she could switch between understanding and speaking now. The barrier of "I understand English but I can't speak well" was truly broken. Her mind no longer felt like a passive receiver but an active producer of language, confidently expressing thoughts and opinions fluidly. Elara continued her "How to Practice English" routines even after the conference. She knew language learning was an ongoing journey, not a destination. Her pair sessions with Liam continued, evolving into more advanced discussions and debates, further refining her conversational abilities and expanding her fluency. Her love for "learn English through stories" deepened. She started writing her own short stories in English, which forced her to actively use vocabulary and grammar in creative ways. This writing practice further solidified her understanding and ability to manipulate the language, enhancing her overall proficiency. She also started a small online community, sharing her "How to Learn English" journey and offering advice to others facing similar struggles. Her personal experience became a source of inspiration for many, demonstrating that consistent effort and the right strategies can indeed lead to remarkable breakthroughs. She emphasized the importance of self-compassion. It was okay to make mistakes. They were part of the learning process. The pressure to be perfect often stifled progress, she explained. Embracing imperfections and focusing on clear communication was a far more effective approach for learners. Elara truly understood the profound impact of "why reading is important" now. It wasn't just about words, but about culture, context, and diverse perspectives. Reading widely expanded her worldview, giving her more to talk about, enriching her conversations and broadening her general knowledge base. She encouraged others to try "How to Talk at Home to Yourself." She shared her personal anecdotes of narrating her day or pretending to interview celebrities, highlighting how this private practice built a strong foundation for public speaking. It was a safe zone for experimentation and growth. Her journey was a testament to the power of consistent, multifaceted practice. From her initial shyness and frustration, she had transformed into a confident, articulate English speaker. Her story became an embodiment of hope for anyone who felt stuck in their language learning process, inspiring countless others. She often reminded her online community, "I understand English but I can't speak well" is a common phase, not a permanent state. It signals readiness for the next step, the transition from passive understanding to active production. This encouragement resonated deeply with many struggling learners. Elara's story wasn't just about learning a language, it was about finding her voice, literally and figuratively. It taught her resilience, patience, and the joy of connecting with people across linguistic barriers, proving that communication transcended mere words and embraced genuine connection. Her advice for "how to talk to people in pairs" included finding someone compatible, someone who listened and offered constructive feedback. The quality of the language partner mattered more than their native status, she found. Mutual support was key to fostering a comfortable learning environment. The talking tips she shared evolved from basic greetings to more advanced conversational strategies, like active listening, asking follow-up questions, and expressing opinions respectfully. She emphasized that real conversation was a two-way street, requiring both speaking and listening skills equally. Her journey also highlighted that how to learn English wasn't a linear path. There were plateaus and occasional setbacks, but persistence always paid off. Celebrating small victories and maintaining a positive attitude were crucial for long-term motivation and continued progress, inspiring perseverance. She found immense satisfaction in helping others navigate their own language learning challenges. Witnessing their progress mirrored her own, reinforcing the belief that with dedication and the right tools, anyone could overcome their speaking anxieties and achieve fluency, fulfilling their aspirations. Elara's transformation was a living example of how understanding is merely the first step. Speaking is the leap of faith, the act of courage. It required vulnerability, consistency, and a willingness to embrace imperfection, ultimately leading to incredible growth and unlocking new opportunities in life. Now, when someone asked her how to talk in English, she no longer just offered theory. She shared her own story, a personal testament to the power of consistent practice and belief in oneself. Her journey from silent understanding to confident articulation was profoundly inspiring to many. Her confidence radiated, not just in English, but in all aspects of her life. The communication skills she honed through her English journey translated into better relationships, improved professional interactions, and a newfound assertiveness. The positive ripple effect was truly remarkable for her. Elara had indeed learned how to talk with anyone, not just in English, but with genuine connection. Her journey from understanding but not speaking to articulating her thoughts clearly was a powerful narrative, proving that the human spirit, coupled with effective strategies, can conquer any challenge. Her life became a vibrant tapestry woven with international friendships and shared experiences. All because she dared to confront her fear, to practice diligently, and to believe in her ability to speak, transforming her internal world and opening up countless external possibilities for her future. Elara, once a quiet observer, now spoke with clarity and conviction, a true testament to the power of perseverance and the effective application of diverse learning strategies. Her story is a beacon for anyone aiming to bridge the gap between comprehension and fluent, confident communication.